I am here to tell you about my unit on measurement that I did last year with a group of kindergartners in my student teaching placement. So I have altered these lessons for the ELD standards because in my placement last year there were 0 ELL students identified in the classroom. So I went back at something that I had previously done and made it fit for this. So the 3 lessons that I'm going to tell you about are geared toward obviously kindergartners, and since it's a measurement unit, we're focusing on getting to know the definitions of what is a standard unit of measure is and what a non-standard unit of measure is. And those are pretty big words to use with kindergartners. So in my lessons I sort of break it down as to how to go about teaching those words to kindergartners, and especially kindergartners that may not know that much English. So the 3 lessons that I'm going to tell you about, the first one is called How Big is a Foot? The second one is Unifix Cube Measuring, and the third one is called Inch by Inch. The first one is based around a story called How Big is a Foot? And it's basically the story of how a queen-size bed came about, and how the carpenter in the kingdom measured this bed for the queen, but the king's foot was a different size as the carpenter's foot, and so the bed didn't match to fit the queen, and so it gets to the point of using a standardized unit of measure, such as an inch or a foot or a kilometer, so on. And that one is really big because it hits those language points of talking about what these kinds of measurement are. And then the second one is Unifix Cube Measuring, and this was probably my favorite lesson of the entire unit because the kindergartners get to utilize Unifix cubes, which, if you're familiar with the Bridges curriculum, which was what I was using at this school, there are a lot of opportunities for kindergartners to use Unifix cubes. So at this point in the year, the kindergartners were very used to utilizing these manipulatives, and they got to measure themselves to see how tall they are in Unifix cubes. So, you know, they go to the doctor, they know how tall they are in inches, but it's cool to see, for them to see how many Unifix cubes tall they are. And with this lesson, I would specifically utilize sentence frames for the English language learners. The 2 that I would utilize are, I am blank Unifix cubes tall, and my partner is blank Unifix cubes tall. And so that way, the only thing that they have to put in is the numbers in that sentence. And then they can utilize that sentence in their partnership. They can say, I am blank Unifix cubes tall, and then when we bring it back to the whole group, they can tell the class, my partner is blank Unifix cubes tall. So it's sort of you know, a speaking and listening activity utilizing the sentence frames and partnerships as well. So the third lesson is Inch by Inch, which is well beloved by me and perhaps many others, children's book called Inch by Leo Leone. And this gets at the question of what is measurable. So in the story, if you're not familiar with, an inchworm comes along and can measure the length of the robin's tail, or the length of the flamingo's legs, or a measurable in inches item or object. And the last one is a bird wants him to measure his song, and he can't do that because songs aren't measurable. So this lesson really gets at what we're measuring as an object and what we can't really measure in standardized units. So this one is really fun because I brought some examples of what we constructed as a result of this lesson. Kids made their own inchworm rulers, and they're super fun, and they got to color them in, and they have down here inches and half inches. And so once these were constructed, the kids could go around and measure objects or items in the classroom, and they could either it set an object that they had to measure, or it had they could decide what object they wanted to measure, and it could write that in if they were at that stage, which not a lot of kindergartners were at that stage. But anyway, so these were a lot of fun. The kids had a really great time making them, and that's pretty much all I have for you in terms of this brief commercial for my lesson plans. Yeah, thank you for watching.